Hey gamers, Gecko here. With a release window for Lucy in Guilty Gear Strive, I have begun looking to the future. The things we learnt at the panel indicate that we may end up actually getting a Season 5 for Guilty Gear Strive. And without getting everyone's hopes up, I was thinking maybe we could have a little bit of fun speculating. Have a little bit of a silly time thinking about what might be in the future. So here's a list of the things that would make my perfect Guilty Gear Strive Season 5. Like with a lot of things on this channel, I do want this to be an open discussion, so feel free to say whatever you want the most in the comment section below, or maybe even tell me to my face. I'm going to be streaming later tonight. We're going to be making a tier list of what quick hacks Lucy may have in Guilty Gear Strive. I'm going to be playing a silly little mech game that I found that I'm very much liking. Listen, we were supposed to play in Salty EU, but they're going out and touching grass, so we have to do something else. Hopefully I'll see you on the Twitch. Anyway, let's start with the big one that everybody wants. The balance changes. As you all probably know, we are getting a balance patch pretty soon. The developers announced that with the release of Lucy, there will be a major balance patch. And while this probably isn't the Season 5 balance patch, the things I'm going to say apply to it mostly. There is a non-zero chance that this is the patch that kicks off Season 5, and there is also just as good a chance that this is a patch similar to patch 3.5, in which a lot of major things were changed, but we weren't in a new major season. It does come at a very strange time. I could see it going either way, but these are the major things that I want from this patch. Now, I won't be going into specific character balance. I am extremely biased when it comes to what characters I want buffed and what characters I want nerfed. I'm a man with very strong emotions, and sometimes those emotions cloud my judgment. So I won't be saying what specific characters I want buffed or nerfed, apart from Potemkin. But there are a couple of universal changes that I do want to see applied to the game, because I think it would help make it healthier. Or at least I want them to be addressed in some way. To begin with, I want there to be a change with how Burst interacts with Wall Stick. If you don't know, currently, once you get stuck to the wall, you regain 25% of your burst immediately. This was a change that was added to the game in order to disincentivize wall slump loops. If you don't remember, around Season 2 time, Eno and Happy Chaos were constantly running mix and pressure by not even knocking you off of the floor, so that once you broke off of the wall, you would slump. It was a very powerful tool, especially for Happy Chaos. So the developers changed it so that the moment that you stuck to the wall, you gained a quarter of your burst back. This was a really good change, and I don't necessarily want it to be gone in its entirety, but it has had a strange effect. As you know, Guilty Gear Strive has different health pools for different characters. What this has led to is characters that have higher health pools being able to benefit a lot more from this change than characters with lower ones. Characters like Chip and Bridget don't really interact with this system that much, unless they're on the receiving end of it. Both of them can slump their opponents against the wall and set up slump mix-ups. However, if they're the ones getting knocked through the wall, you generally only have to do 2 massive combos in order to kill them. One of these is probably a wall break, so in any given round, they're probably just getting around 25% of their burst by being knocked through the wall. Hell, there's a good chance that that doesn't even happen. However, if we look at a character with a higher HP value like Potemkin, he gains a massive bonus from this. Potemkin is able to be knocked through the wall 3, maybe even 4 times an entire round, depending on the character that you're playing and the combos that you're doing. Considering that 50% of your burst can be used on Wild Assault or Deflect Shield, this means that characters with high HP values, like Potemkin, are able to generate a bunch of burst just by losing. They can then use this new burst meter in order to stage a comeback a lot easier. The differential for the characters is absolutely massive. This leads to situations where sometimes sticking a character against a wall is actually the wrong option, because you give them back vital resources that they can then use to beat you. It's never a fun situation to be in. And it's one that, with a lot of the bigger bodies being top tier, is a situation that a lot of players find themselves in. I would really like this problem to be addressed in some way. I'm not entirely sure how they would do it, because if you fully remove it, we could have a wall slump situation again. But if you leave it as it is, the characters with the higher HP values are just going to keep running rampant. Before anyone says anything, my idea wouldn't be to make everyone's HP value the same, or squish the differential. I like the fact that there are characters that die in one hit, and I like the fact that there are characters that take a while to kill. What I personally would propose is a reverse scaling method for the amount of burst that you get. So the game looks at your effective HP, being your total HP and your guts rating, and depending on how high the number is, depends on how much burst that you get, being a reverse scale. So characters like Milia, Chip, and Bridget all get more burst for being stuck to the wall, so characters like Bedman, Gold Lewis, Potemkin all gain less burst when being stuck to the wall. I don't know if this would be a very good system or if it would break the game, but something along the lines would be interesting to see. Also, I don't know how you would do that with Asuka, since he technically has the highest and lowest effective HP in the game, but I'm not a game designer, that's for the balance team to figure out. Still, having this problem addressed at all would be very nice. Speaking of a problem I have with the game right now, Guard Crush. If you don't know, Guard Crush is a state that you can be put in where you're not technically blocking, but you're not able to do anything that isn't block, deflect shield, or burst. This state is rampant throughout Strive, especially with several of the top tiers. Ramlethal is an amazing example of why Guard Crush can be extremely annoying. Since you're not technically guarding, you lose access to several of the benefits that come with it. The main ones being throw protection and autocrosser. Once you're left out of Guard Crush, you are immediately in a neutral state, meaning that if Ramlethal does a left-right mix-up on you, it is true. There is no auto block that will save you. This goes the same with throw, meaning that when the Guard Crush ends, she can run up and immediately throw you. You may have seen a lot of very good Ramlethal players throw S-Sword in neutral, and then run up, flip over their opponent, hit them same side low, or throw them. All of these can have devastating effects when combined with the explosion. Guard Crush as a mechanic has become absolutely rampant in the game. Most of the amazing characters in this season have some form of Guard Crush, and it becomes extremely annoying to deal with. I would like to see Guard Crush changed in some way where I either still have more of my defensive options, or it is less prominent and left to the characters who really need it. Every other character having Guard Crush and being able to do stuff off of it is really annoying. I understand with several of the big bodies, like Bedman, it kinda makes sense. If I blocked a giant explosion, I also would stagger back. But does Sin really need it? A reevaluation of the mechanic, or even an entire removal of it, would make me a lot happier. Especially since they fucking took it from Geo. I'm still pissed about this. Yeah, Gold Lewis can do Behemoth Typhoon into Behemoth Typhoon, and it still Guard Crushes, but Geo can't have it on a fucking Oki. Fuck you! Now, I said I wouldn't touch on individual balance, but I do want to touch on the philosophy that I would like the patch to have. Back in Season 3.5, I said to several people that I wanted Arxis to not balance for crazy bullshit. I wanted them to simply squish the gap a little bit. Bring characters like Johnny down, and bring characters like, at the time, Baiken up. And they didn't do that. Season 4 had the philosophy of being extremely flashy, with a bunch of new things. Two characters got massive reworks, and a lot of the cast got new tools to play with. I believe the idea was to try and drum up news about the game, spice things up a little bit. Been a while since there was a massive shake-up and everything, and I think that's what they wanted Season 4 to be. However, if you ask most of the people who stuck around with Strive, Season 4 is okay at best. It's been a very long time since the emergency balance patch, and we've kind of just gotten used to everything. But I wouldn't say that the balance patch as a whole is fun. It feels now that the lower tiers are even lower than they were, and the high tiers are even higher than they were before. I would like a different philosophy going into Season 5. Mainly the one that I wanted when we went into Season 4. I want them to balance for competitive stability instead of balancing for crazy bullshit. I understand that this, at the end of the day, is an anime game, and there's gonna be dumb shit all over. And I will say, I think Guilty Gear Strive is the most bullshit modern fighter. But I think you can still have that bullshit while making things more fair. Right now, if you want to play a character like Dizzy, you find yourself at a massive disadvantage compared to someone who plays Sin, or Potemkin, or Leo, or Ram. I'd want it so that the lower tiers are still able to compete with the higher tiers. The higher tiers aren't so much more dominant than the rest of the cast. It is a hard balancing act, and I do not envy anyone who works on any balance team. especially when there's so many different voices telling you that they want different things. But I would really like to see them have a gentle hand with the patch. Don't go crazy, just change things so that they're more balanced. And finally, the new moves that you promised. Arxis have been very slow on the new moves. We know we're getting one next patch, but specifically for Season 5, I would like to see the rest of them finally implemented. The fact that people are having arguments on what does and doesn't class as a move kind of shows how not the best the implementation of the new moves has been. Does Zana have a new move? If you ask me, yes, but if you ask a Zana player, no. So I'd like to see all of them finally implemented and put into the game. I know, big ask. Well, that's all of the balance stuff out of the way. Let's get on to the fun things! Of course, with a new season, we get a new season pass of 4 new characters. So what 4 characters would I like to see? Before anyone says anything, don't fucking spoil it in the comments. I know there was a leak. I am aware of the leak. I dodged it on purpose. This is for me. I want to stay blind. Don't fucking tell me. Alright, now that we're all on the same page. Jam. Jam's a character I've been asking since around Season 1. I'm pretty sure she was on my list of wanted Season 1 characters. I used to play her in Plus R. She was my original main before I started playing Soul. I have a large fondness for the character. If she did come back, I'd kind of want her Plus R tile system compared to her XR charge system. But either way, I just want to see her again. I want to go gorilla mode and break people's ears. It'll be funny. Now that the obvious one is out of the way, let's get to ones that you might not be expecting. I'm pretty sure I said this at some point before, but I do want Answer in the game at some point. I think his little scrolls are really interesting, and while he's not 100% a rushdown character, and generally leans more into the set play side of things, I think having another true set play character would be quite interesting for the game. I would like to see what they come up with, and I would kind of hope they advance on the scroll system instead of taking away from it. Strive is a bit weird with the characters they decide to add to and take away from, so I would hope that they'd find a way to enhance the scrolls that he has in Xrd. He's also just really cool. As for the next one, I was originally going to put a new character, like the one that they teased in the panel, but I want Izuna. I want Izuna back. If you don't know, Izuna is a character specific to Guilty Gear 2 Overture. I made a video on the main channel all about that game, and we talk a little bit about him there. He's a fox spirit boy from the backyard, and he is very silly, and I kind of miss him. He's not really been in anything since Guilty Gear Overture. I think he appears in... It's not the Xrd story, it's somewhat along those lines, though, around that time frame. We see a PNG of him and he talks to some of the characters. But I miss him, and I would really like to see him finally in a fighting game. I miss his annoying voice lines. I miss his minions' annoying voice lines. I do not care if this would make the 4th Katana character. I fucking want Izuna. I don't even know how he would play. I just want to see him. If we don't get Izuna, though, and we do get a new character, I would personally really like to see a combo grappler in Strive. If you don't know, Potemkin's basically the only grappler we have. And while Soul used to kind of fill the role of the combo grappler in Plus R and Xrd, he doesn't fill that void in Strive since Wild Throw doesn't naturally bounce you anymore. So I would like some character that's able to combo off of a command grab, even if the damage isn't that crazy. Technically, Venom can do this as he turns you into a ball, but I want someone a bit more unga bunga, you know? And finally, Ragnar. Do I need to explain myself? Finally, there's a couple more things that I want to go over that aren't necessarily balance or character related, but I would still really like to see in the game at some point. These are a range of competitive tools and casual fun things, so I think they'll be quite fun to talk about. To begin with, Replay Takeover. If you don't know what it is, Replay Takeover is a tool where while you are watching a replay of one of your previous matches, you are able to take control of one of the characters during that replay. This is an extremely helpful tool for a lot of different reasons, and it would be really useful in Strive. One of the biggest problems I have with labbing certain matchups, see Jacko, is I can't play them and I don't know what they're doing. This tool allows me to circumvent that by naturally finding the situation I was in, taking control of my character, and trying different things out. It is a very useful tool and a very well-liked one in every game that it's in. Hell, you can do it in Plus R. I'm really upset we don't have Replay Takeover in Strive, and I would really like to see it added. On the more casual side of things, though, while I don't think Team of 3 was necessarily the best thing to ever come to Strive, I would like to see an addition to it that might sound familiar to a couple of you. Did any of you do the Dragon Ball FighterZ raid bosses? Raid bosses were a mode where you and 2 of your friends went and you fought extremely powerful CPUs in order to try and win some in-game currency. They were really fun and really cool, and I would kind of like to see them in Strive in some way. The 3v3 mode is quite complex, and I think having a PvE variant of it, where you're allowed to use the skills that you've learned and max your character up to a ridiculous standard, would be a very fun way of getting more people to check it out. Maybe you could have rotating bosses, maybe you could have special event things. I think it would just be a nice way to expand the casual elements of the game. Also, it gives me something to do with my friends in Strive that isn't kill them. But there must be something between these two. Something that's not hyper-competitive, but something that's not hyper-casual. Oh, would you look at that? It's ranked mode! It's coming eventually. I just need to hop on it. It better be coming soon. I swear to God. I got in Celestial this month and it was a pain in the ass. I swear to God. Come on, Alexis. Let me play ranked. It's the only time in my life I've asked for a ranked mode. Like, the only time. Back on the casual side of things, I know that Dual Rulers was supposed to be the replacement for the story modes that come out, but I wouldn't mind seeing more story-based content. The world of Guilty Gear is a lot, with a bunch of different things going on, and while I didn't like the base story of Strive, I definitely thought the Another story they made, centered around Baiken and Delilah, was really good. I'm sure that more story stuff is on the way. I wouldn't mind seeing another short story about 2 non-main characters. Finally, fix the lobbies. Sure, they've heard this one before. My hope is that when rank mode comes out, it'll have a dedicated matchmaking system that takes pressure off of the Strive servers, and if pressure's off, maybe they start working better. But it has also been 4 years at this point, and even when I do viewer matches, there's always a time where I have to turn into a technician for a little bit to try and get the lobbies working. I get that some of this is not Arxis' fault, and it's just how connections work sometimes, but I would really like a lobby system that works 99% of the time compared to 75. And that's just about it. Those are my main wants for Season 5. Like I said, let me know what you guys want in the comment section below, or come over to the stream. I'll be live right now. We're going to be talking about Lucy's quick hacks and then playing a little bit of Mecha Break. It's going to be fun. It's going to be good. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that good YouTube stuff. Thank you all for watching. See you all later. Bye-bye.